Community TV series review. So this is part of what I'm calling my television addiction series, which if you want more information about that, I filmed an introductory video to this series, which I'll link in the description down below. But basically, this is me going through a period in my life from 2011 to 2013 when I was watching way too much TV and trying to sort through all the different TV shows I watched during that time and give my thoughts on them. Which brings me to Community. Now, advanced warning, I don't really have a lot intelligent to say about Community, other than to just add my voice to what is already the established consensus, that this is a really great show. So, advanced warning, you might want to stop watching here. But that being said, I'm going to ramble on a little bit anyways, just try and maybe give some of my own subjective experiences of this show, or just talk into the void and see if anything intelligent ends up coming out. I don't know. Stick around or don't. You've been forewarned. One of the things about talking about Community is I'm not quite sure how much I need to say about this show, because I suspect most people on the internet are already very familiar with Community. I said this in my video about Arrested Development, and I think the same holds true for Community, maybe even more so, which is it's not the case that everybody knows about this show. I mean, my parents have never heard about this show or ever watched this show. But I think people who go on the internet a lot, people who watch YouTube videos a lot, people who fit a certain demographic, which is the demographic of YouTube viewers, are probably already very familiar with Community. It tends to have a cult following, which is largely a nerdy cult following. The type of person who's predisposed to watching YouTube videos is probably predisposed to knowing about Community. Or am I wrong? Again, let me know in the comments how much you know about this show, where you first heard about this show, if you've never heard about this show. I mean, the internet is a big place, and I sometimes get random viewers on this channel from all over the place. So maybe somebody doesn't know about Community. But that being said, I think I'm going to pitch this review largely under the assumption that people vaguely know what this show is, or already mostly familiar with this show. So I first watched this show because my coworkers were talking about this. This was very much the show that had a word-of-mouth type vibe. I don't think it ever got extremely high ratings, but it had a devoted following and it had a word-of-mouth vibe going on, and my coworkers were talking about how funny it was, so I checked out the show. And my original review of it, I said, some episodes were better than others, but at least in its stronger moments, a very funny and very inventive show. Actually, it strikes me now that I was not nearly generous enough to that show, meaning I should have praised it more. Some episodes were better than others. Well, okay, admittedly, some episodes were better than others. But at its peak, and I guess by at its peak, I mean the first 3 seasons, it was a show that was pretty consistently on. And I've actually, in the years since, had the occasion to rewatch much of this show. A few years ago, I found it on a Vietnamese streaming website and rewatched most of it and found that it still held up really well. And actually, just a couple months ago, the wife left me home alone for a week, and I had access to a friend's Netflix account, and I was rewatching Community episodes. And I was in that situation where I didn't actually remember which episode was which as I was scrolling through the Netflix. So I was just kind of clicking on random titles and found that whatever I clicked on, it was always very entertaining. Meaning it's very hard to go wrong with this show. I think that there were a few dud episodes, but it's it's a show that when it was really good, it was brilliant, and even when it wasn't really good, it was still entertaining. Now, I think in the first 3 seasons, the episodes that were really brilliant were when they, because the show was all about this very mundane setting, this community college, and people were studying at this community college. But then they would take this mundane setting and have these storylines which had an epic scope to them. And the most obvious examples of these were the paintball episodes, where yes, you knew it wasn't real, you knew it was just a silly game of paintball, but then they had these epic storylines where everybody was taking it so seriously that you just went along with it. And of course, part of the humor was that juxtaposition between the mundaneness of the setting and the epicness of the storyline. The Dungeons and Dragons episode strikes me as another great example of this, where they're just sitting in a room playing Dungeons and Dragons, but Sorry, I'm cracking up just remembering how funny that episode was. Trying to make something seem like it was really epic out of that. And there were a bunch more episodes like that. It was just brilliant. And of course, Dan Harmon, we know. Dan Harmon was the creator of Community, the showrunner, and I think the writer behind most of the episodes in the first 3 seasons. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's of course gone on to Rick and Morty. So he's proved himself a storytelling genius. And I think as time has gone on, people, at least myself and I think most people, have become more and more aware of just how funny the man is and what a talent he has for telling engaging stories. And that, I think, that was first on display in Community. Season 4, Dan Harmon got kicked off the show because of some behind-the-scenes drama, which I once knew about but have since forgotten about. So Season 4 wasn't nearly as good, but, for my money, Season 4 wasn't bad. I'll watch it. I've watched it. I've rewatched it. It's watchable. And then Dan Harmon came back for Season 5, but by Season 5, they were beginning to lose some of the core cast. Chevy Chase famously left the show. Donald Glover famously left the show. The Shirley character left in Season 6. Season 6 was renewed for a Yahoo streaming service only. Yeah, so the first 3 seasons are the glory days. That's when you had the whole original cast together, and you had the original showrunner Dan Harmon together with them. But season 4, 5, and 6 are completely watchable, in my opinion. And then rumors of maybe the cast getting together for a movie. Of course, 6 seasons in a movie had been kind of the tagline of, at least Abed's tagline. One of the characters in the show kept saying 6 seasons in a movie. So maybe they might be getting the movie. There are rumors on the internet. I will totally watch that if that becomes a thing. So again, apologies. I really don't have a lot intelligent to say about this show, but just add my voice to the list of people who thought that this show was absolutely brilliant. And if you haven't checked it out, by all means, check it out.